नमस्कार मितेश, आपका बिल्डिंग फॉर भारत इंडिपेंडेंस डे स्पेशल में स्वागत है. वेलकम टू द इंडिपेंडेंस डे स्पेशल सीरीज ऑफ बिल्डिंग फॉर भारत. इफ वी वर टू लुक एट, we have so much to celebrate. Today, rural internet users surpass urban. The proliferation of web technologies has empowered over 500 million people in India. While that is heartening, there are huge gaps and challenges to be addressed when it comes to making internet a more inclusive place. We still have over 625 million Indians who still view the internet economy as an exclusive one. So it is about 625 million missed opportunities every moment. Quite like a missed call, one would say. It is rather interesting how you thought of leveraging missed calls as an opportunity to bridge this gap. So tell us a little bit about how this idea came about and how has been your journey so far.
On 17 January, I was visiting my native place in a remote part of vibrant Gujarat. Hue and cry, there was a huge serpentine queues outside ATMs. And cleverly, at that point of time, the digital payment companies had put a huge hoarding just above the ATMs, and I used to wonder actually, there's something wrong here. There's a huge hoarding up there, and down there's a serpentine queue. Why don't these people just take a queue? And that's where actually I thought this is what I was trying to solve by voice-based payments actually. So I had filed for a patent in 2012, 2012 actually, for voice-based payments actually, and it was out-of-band authentication, a very, very unique authentication method. I said actually it's time now, patent actually, and using it for national good. And that's what gave me an idea. And in September 2017, I finally found courage after multiple months of ideation that I should get into this, and my new startup was born. It's 2017, it's 2012. It's so many years. Where is MissCallPay? So I took baby steps because I got into an impact innovation growth program, which was by Lockheed Martin and Tata Trust actually, and FICCI sponsored program at Ahmedabad. And fortunately, I got great mentors. One of them was Mr. Sanjay Jain of iSpirit, and he clearly told me, Mitesh, you should not bump into this at this point of time till actually you get regulatory clearances. And unless you don't get regulatory clearances, please don't step out of what you're doing. I created the first ever sandbox, regulatory sandbox for payments over feature phone, and payment over feature phone was the theme. And I was like, wow, this is what I wanted. I've been trying from 2017, and finally it has heard the right people, but I was wrong. But what happened is actually, it was my bad luck actually, that they classified any startup with at least having some kind of a net worth, which was like 25 lakhs, and unfortunately, and that also they wanted in the previous year's balance sheet. But 2019, I was in Nigeria doing this, and in Jan I came back, and I was thinking that now me getting a chance to set up MissCallPay in India is bleak. So why not try different geography? But then Jan came, then Feb, then March, and in that March, came the pandemic, and my God, all my plans of even shifting there, it's like big no. And fortunately, I had also applied for a Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. That was a great grand challenge for payments over feature phone, and that was my only hope. But it was like highly competitive, and there were 750 innovations across the world who were actually vying for it. And of that, there were first shortlist was about 40 odd innovations, and among the top names there. And then there was top 9 included one of the largest PSU banks as one of the contenders. I said, my God, I'm not going to make here though, right? So so I said, whatever, let's give our best. And then I teamed up with one of my great friends, Vibhav, and we did that actually. And That's what uh, we won this award. So, and at the same time, when I won this award in May 2020, actually, due to pandemic, my other business actually, which was into Salesforce management and aligning Salesforce and data analytics of some kind for marketing, that actually went down because of the pandemic effects. And so, fortunately or unfortunately, I would say that my full focus came on to MissCall from Chief Minister of Maharashtra and Integrated Zone, and then we also got incubation from Ahmedabad, and then from iHub of Gujarat. And then came the big day, on the 8th March 2022. Finally, we were technically launched by RBI Governor alongside the launch of UPI 123 Pay at the RBI headquarters, and that was a great day, And since then, it's no looking back. Actually, we have been technically live, and in this Independence Day, or just a week after that, we plan to be even commercially live in 2022 August.
Up to that point in time, all the payment opportunities which were there, those were mostly designed for tech savvy people, and those were designed for smartphones. So in a way, coincidentally, we are also talking about this being a Independence Day special series. In a way, what you have been able to do is really take payment to the masses. That means make payment a lot more independent of the assistance that people who don't have smartphones, who are not tech savvy, they would be able to do that. So tell us a little bit about how it works. How does MissCallPay work, and what is its unique selling point? Unique selling point, of course, you touched about that being through feature phones. Outside of that, is there anything else that you would like to mention?
So there's a number flashing on my screen.
Yeah.
So as soon as you have dialed this number, it will be a phone will get cut and you will get a call back. Please put the speaker phone on as soon as you get the call. Just put 51. Just put 1111. Voice-based UPI payment. Best part is actually you could do it without proximity. So far, people in Bharat actually, have experienced actually that for doing any payment, you need to go to a particular merchant for swiping a card, or putting a thumb on an Aadhaar machine, or even scanning a QR. You need to take your phone. This form of payment actually, I can just tell you, hey, give me a missed call. Built innovation that can actually adapt to the habits of the masses and not the other way. So we have seen innovations actually for Bharat also happening, but what's happening is that those innovations that happen actually are typically targeted towards the tech-savvy smartphone users. We are trying to target not just them, obviously, but also primarily the non-tech-savvy smartphone users and feature phone users. Now, when I say that, actually, even if you give them smartphone, say, there are all telcos are now trying to make a cheaper version of smartphone and get that smartphone in everybody's hand, and feature phone is a declining market. True, but what is happening is you may give a smartphone in somebody's hand, but how do you make him tech savvy enough to use smartphone? Yeah, you may change that OS in the phone, but bande ka OS kaise change karoge? Particularly when it comes to English, they don't know how to read and write. And that's why India is a land of multiple languages. Actually, there are 22 languages in our constitution itself, and there are more than 700 odd languages actually in India spoken. But when you do not know how to read and write the primary language of a smartphone, that is English, how you do it? But let me tell you, and also not only English, but they also not work with actually typing their own language on the smartphone. That's also difficult. But there are two skills which are abundant with every Indian: is sunna or samajna. Sunna and samajna, the voice skills. And with that, there are some people of that in that Bharat population are very, very extremely good in one of the third skill, which is also number. MissCallPay is weaved around all these three skills to make it happen, to make digital payments percolate deep inside Bharat so that the benefit of UPI revolution can go deep into the Bharat.
There is a very nice thread that you also brought up, that there was a time because mobile calls were very expensive, and missed call as a behavior uh, evolved because it was expensive, and Reliance, they made the calls cheaper, and therefore missed call as a behavior probably did not exist as much. And you brought back the behavior which was there, and adapting that to technology, you brought it back, but for a completely different purpose. And while what Reliance did was to make calls more inclusive by making it cheaper, so you have used the missed call behavior as an opportunity to really make payments more inclusive through feature phones. So that's a clear standout of the journey that you just mentioned. Now, speaking in the context of financial inclusion, there are so many terms that are used: banked, unbanked, digital. And also the ones who are waiting to be served. Are they the same base or they are different?
Thanks to the great impetus on financial inclusion and the Jandan Yojana, lot of push for digital payments, because that's the way that which actually India can progress, or I would say Bharat can progress. Because with digital payments, actually the inclusion happens, and people can actually have multiple modes of livelihood. They are enhancing their credit scores. They can be brought into a formal economy, and lot of things actually. So, for instance, actually, like, and when that while this is happening, but what is happening? Government even made one more regime, one more thing that actually became a new normal, and that was actually MDR being zero. So payments actually were made zero, while the credit card companies had an MDR of 2% or even 3%, 1.5% to 3%. India saw that no way you can make money in payments. You have to make it from some other way, give them some value-added services and make money. So there was no money left for making in payments, and that's good actually, because while money is changing hands, why should somebody take a cut? And so that's a good intention. But what happened is actually this MDR zero, only benefited people like you and me. So people like you and me were already using credit card, debit card, net banking and all that, and we were used to paying some or other kind of MDR rates or some kind of convenience fees. But what happened is actually that this MDR zero was made so that digital payments can be adopted en masse, and primarily to the Bharat segment. But unfortunately, this great segment has been aloof to this actually. So when I say that, actually in 2020, UPI had 200 million users. Right. So there was almost a glass ceiling when this competition was unveiled. Actually, there was almost a glass ceiling. The numbers were not growing. The user base was not growing, but transactions were growing. That means that people who have started using UPI are using it more and more, because it's so great, so addictive, it's so revolutionary. But idea is actually that getting that revolution out there to Bharat. UPI interestingly has now takers also outside India. Now recently when I was in Digital India Week, UPI is going global with 40 different countries actually. But while UPI is still not gone Bharat, actually UPI 123 Pay, where actually the payments can be done even those digitally illiterate people. Because see, making people digitally literate is not easy. It requires a different kind of a skill set to be trained. But more than that, an attitude towards making digital payment to be trained. Right? So At MissCallPay, our quest is to make payments not just ultra simple, but also ultra secure. So while I say that, actually, we have demonstrated to regulators also, and NPCI also, and obviously to the jury at the Bill and Melinda Gates award that we got, that the MissCallPay is ultra secure. And I say that, actually, it's Jamtara proof. You know, a guy sitting in Jamtara, I can challenge him if he can really crack it and actually uh, scam someone using MissCallPay. So that's a challenge, and making that foolproof. When I say foolproof, FULL and FOOLL, है ना? So दोनों तरह से foolproof कर दो, तो then actually the guy actually who is using it, he knows that actually he won't be taken for granted. He won't be compromised, and social engineering also not easy in this solution. Or in fact, I would say, I won't say not possible, but yeah, not easy. So when that is there, actually, the payments for the Bharat will actually pick up, and that's whole mission and vision of MissCallPay, to take that payments down there.
It is going global. And the other interesting reference that you made is Diya Tale Andhera, right? While that concept is quite powerful, the execution of that, because of various reasons, it has not reached to the masses the way it was planned. And that is the gap that you're talking about. Now, linking to this to what you mentioned, do you think that language preferences should be an integral part of the KYC process, so that when you are talking about reach to the masses, payment reaching to the masses, language could play a role over there?
So, and I'm very thankful that actually your company Reverie has been with us since the very beginning of our getting into a scalable product development. Our first impetus has always been that, when I spoke to your guys, actually, there was this guy Ashish, in Reverie. Unfortunately, he's no more due to COVID. Ashish Gupta, if I remember his name exactly, created something for me that actually I really appreciate that. Actually, he made that 12 languages possible with Reverie, in all kind of what you call it, actually, even in the format in which actually we can take it over an IVR. So earlier they were in 16K, so everything was adopted and adapted to 8K to make it actually run on IVR, and that's how actually I've seen a support from Reverie. But other than that, actually, what our emphasis has always been, because India with so many languages, there are certain languages which have actually, they have been spoken at least in majority of the masses, actually, and these are the 12 different languages. And I'm fortunate that Reverie has all the 12, actually. Though Indian Constitution has 22 official languages, and we would like to go there as well. But to begin with, 12 is a great number, and I believe that actually in anything to do with KYC or even payments, or for anything that can actually transform the digital life of Indians and Bharatiyas, actually, languages will play a great role.
Language is a big third pillar that must be included, and it's very encouraging to see that you are also a believer in the fact that language is an integral part of that inclusion in what you are doing in payments. Now, you mentioned about us working together, and UPI 123 Pay is something that we have worked together with MissCallPay. So, for our audience, could you tell us a little bit about the UPI 123 Pay use case itself?
what next after UPI? UPI is big. UPI is revolutionary. But UPI has actually a glass ceiling. It has hit a glass ceiling. The number of users are not increasing. So RBI and our regulators and the government saw this actually, that how do we take it further down and make this revolution really hit the underserved segments, right? And there came in actually that, see, Rupiah is a rail, and I will tell you that this rail actually is currently a meter gauge track. So when I say that, actually, that if you know, there is a Darjeeling toy train or Mathiran toy train is actually a rail, right? So UPI is a payment rail, and UPI is a narrow gauge rail track or a meter gauge rail track, because it can serve only the tech savvy smartphone users. What is bigger and the broad gauge rail track is actually UPI 123 Pay. So because UPI 123 Pay aims to serve not just non-tech savvy smartphone users, but also feature phone users. And voice is the single factor of making it happen across all three segments, be it tech savvy smartphone users, non-tech savvy smartphone users, be it even feature phone users. And India has about 118 or I would say that 118 crores worth of people who are actually mobile subscribers. Of that, only 20 crore of them or 200 million of them having UPI, though now that number has gone to about 250 to 60 million or 25-26 crore, but still there's a huge amount of Bharat population still outside the fold of actually getting in and doing digital payments, even though they have a basic phone. The idea is actually getting this innovation down into the roots, right, where it matters. Today, for instance, actually, if I have to send you money, Arvind, it's very simple. I just use some UPI app and transfer 10,000 rupees, and within an instant you will get it. But the same thing, then I actually, and I saw my watchman actually, wanted to send money to his sick wife actually, and for the 2,000 rupees he had to go to one BC outlet of a Sarkari bank, pay 10-15 rupees as the fee, right? And then his wife had to travel almost like in a sickness she was suffering through. She had to travel 3-4 hours actually and withdraw that money, again paying a fee and also paying traveling expenses, all that amounting to almost like 25-30 or even 40 rupees of only transaction cost, plus there is some traveling cost and all that kind of thing. Just imagine, for just 2,000 rupees she is spending, somebody spending 50-100 rupees and tons of time, when actually I can send you 10,000 rupees in a jiffy, not paying anything. So when this kind of revolution actually touches the Bharat, actually, the day actually it will be the Amrut Mahotsav day. It will be really actually a day where actually the India will transform into a different heights, and that's what our aim is actually.
Thanks, Mitesh, for your insights about the UPI 123 Pay as well and the use cases. Tell us something, the people who are really building for Bharat, some of the key learnings regarding Bharat. What are the things that they should take into account when they are building for Bharat?
When I say we will make it happen, it is actually encompassing a lot of partners, including that of Reverie and others actually, primarily India Stack, primarily NPCI, RBI, and also telecom companies who have supported me, in helping me create this robust and highly scalable telecom architecture, right? As well as the liberal policies of government to make this happen, and so, and lot of fintechs who have come and supported me actually, and they have also, and a lot of other corporates, even including the large corporates, some of the electricity power companies, you know, even from the Tata Group actually, and even from Aditya Birla Group actually have really signed up with us and put a trust in us, and given us a PO as well as advance actually, and before even we could launch, you know, and with that kind of a great support and a great trust actually, that MissCallPay can really make it, it's definitely 100%. So my it's kind of a innovation or an idea which time has come actually, and not only for Bharat actually. So when I say that actually, this technology is not only limited to those underserved segment of Bharat, though it starts with that, but as soon as that Bharat audience also becomes smartphone users, and in future when they become Alexa users or some voice bot users, voice is still going to be there, and so this is the voice is the. So let me tell you, when in a HCI, human computer interchange, when humans started interacting with machines or machines started interacting with humans actually, the first form of interaction was actually a keyboard, or actually even before that there was some kind of other methods. So then came the keypad, and then came the touchpad, so you could touch and actually interact with the smartphone, but now with the advent of this advancement of voice text, thanks to Reverie and their innovation actually, uh, humans now interact with machines, and machines interact with humans in their own method, that's voice, which is very intrinsic. And once that difference between that human and computer interaction actually, it's at a super best actually. Only where it can go is actually it's a mental interaction which even humans do not do with another human. So I think that this is not just for shorter span of time to serve the underserved, but also when this underserved become developed and further develop into people who consume digital services over voice, this will work. One more thing, one more thing, not just simple, but also secure, because that is the way India will secure its future, and security is the most important foundation of MissCallPay, right? Because the underserved segment actually, if they get conned for even rupees 500, they will never come back to digital payments. So that is our premise, so it has to be ultra simple and ultra secured, and voice based payments are also the future. So that's what it's all about, MissCallPay.
So anything that you would like to give a message to the audience today in your language, आपकी भाषा में, हिंदी में हो या गुजराती में हो, किसी भी भाषा में, आप थोड़ा कुछ ऑडियंस के लिए बोले आज।
आवाज ही है जिससे एक्चुअली भारत बदलेगा, और आवाज ही है जो रेवरी बनाती है, और आवाज ही है जो मिसकॉल पे लिवरेज करती है लोगों को एक्चुअली बेनिफिट पहुंचाने के लिए। और इसलिए ही मैं अपने मराठी या गुजराती में दोनों जगह से हूँ एक्चुअली, सो मैं यही कहूँगा कि मारा भारत देश में मारी आवाज ज मारी ओळखाण छे। So that actually, or in Marathi I can say कि माझ्या भारतात माझी आवाजच माझी ओळख आहे, so ये आवाज से ही बदलेगी इंडिया।
हम लैंग्वेज का प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करें, और हमारा जो लैंग्वेज का जो हम बना रहे हैं उसका एप्लीकेशन बहुत जगह पे है, तो हम आपके ऊपर भी आभारी हैं कि आप पेमेंट के लिए लैंग्वेज के बारे में सोच रहे हैं, बिकॉज इट्स एन इंटीग्रल पार्ट ऑफ इट, और उसको यूज़ करके आप उसको सॉल्व कर रहे हैं। लैंग्वेज का एप्लीकेशन हम बहुत जगह पे देख रहे हैं, और हमारी ये उम्मीद है कि डिजिटल में जो चीज़ अंग्रेजी में आज यूजर्स कर सकते हैं, हर एक वही चीज़ हर एक भारतीय कर सके, अंग्रेजी के ऊपर डिपेंड ना करके, अपनी भाषा में सिक्योरिटी के साथ। तो हम वो दिन देखना चाहते हैं, वो हमारा विजन है, वो हमारा एस्पिरेशन है, और इस जर्नी पे हम लगे हुए हैं।
बस वही है, अपनी भाषा में सब कर सके, सरलता से और सिक्योरिटी से।